Good evening, everybody. 6E01,
Present.
02,
Here.
03,
Here.
04, 05, that would be me, 06, 07. Okay.
Thank you very much. We do have a quorum to conduct official business. For folks for whom this might be their first visit to the Northwest One Library, we're here as guests of the folks at this branch, including Kathy Jenkins, the branch manager. Ms. Jenkins, do you have anything that you want to share with the folks before we get started?
No, I just want to remind everyone, don't forget we're in the midst of the summer reading and hope that everyone is signed up. It includes adults, children, and teens.
Great. And the bathrooms are downstairs,
Yes.
in case you need them. So I would call my colleagues' attention to the agenda before then, and I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda. We're deleting item number 9.
So moved.
I'll second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. PSA reports. Oh, yes, there are a number of items that have been taken off the agenda because parties have rescheduled their appearances before different district government bodies. So if you do not see the item that you are here for, there has been a change in the agenda, most likely in the last 24 hours, so we were not able to get the word out about those changes. So we apologize for that, and more than likely the items will appear on our September agenda. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact the commission via email or phone. So, first of all, we always begin with presentations from our friends at the Metropolitan Police Department, from both 1D and 3D. Our jurisdiction is split between those two districts. So, we will start out with the first district.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Archzel, First District. I actually didn't bring a presentation with me. They just asked me to come up and represent, if there's any questions or anything like that about going on with 1D right now. And basically, I can just tell you that we've currently implemented a new footbeat system right now, where we have a lot more footbeats out there than we ordinarily would have. We've also changed up our manpower deployment, so we have more officers working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Monday. So we have here in the middle of the week, but we're allocating those resources due to crime stats and everything. But actually, I'm more here just if anyone has any questions about the First District right now, I can answer any questions you guys have.
Yeah, can you give us some sort of update on the incident that happened at 2nd in Massachusetts?
There's actually been an arrest for that. It happened yesterday. The individual was an individual that was known to a lot of the witnesses that were down there and the decedent in reference to that. So that's actually a closed case right there. We do have a lot of manpower deployed over there right now, though, based on the severity of that incident, but it is closed.
Thank you.
I have a question. Well, go ahead. She has a question?
Yes, I
Go
do.
ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
What about the patrol for the park at New Jersey and O?
New Jersey and O's and Ocean Street. Can you bear with me one moment right there?
So I could, Ms. Kirsty, that's gonna be 3D.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be next.
Yeah.
This guy's different area.
Sir?
Okay, then, my question goes back to that park.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The park itself.
Yes, sir.
Who has custody of that park right now?
You're talking about 2nd in Massachusetts Avenue?
Yes.
I mean, that's Metropolitan Police Department. I know that there's some construction going on nearby and everything.
Right.
But we're still primarily responsible. PSA 103 has actually got the primary responsibility for that area.
So those individuals are allowed to go in there with that construction going on?
Well, the whole thing is the fences that are up, no one's supposed to be inside of the fences. But some of the fences are not completely covering the area. Now, if there's people inside the fencing area, yeah, they're not supposed to be there. You know, and if people see people in there, obviously call us up because we'll get them out.
Well,
But
they're
area
in there
that's
every
doesn't have fencing around it, people can be there. We can't stop them from going.
It used to have fencing all the way around it. I don't know why or how some of the fencing just disappeared.
So I was actually at a meeting about that a few days ago, and they were referencing just that, why it just hasn't been completely. Apparently, This is like a city planning kind of issue, where basically they don't want everything fenced up based on people have to be able to walk in certain areas and everything in traffic. I can't tell you, because I'm not city planner,
Okay,
why
then
they were
who
brought
would be
down.
the best person to talk to?
Probably somebody at the Department of Public Works would be the best person to talk to about that.
Okay.
And I just want to remind you that after we had that huge community meeting, you were
I
in
was there.
attendance for that, right?
Yeah.
Last summer, we have had better patrolling, not great patrolling, but better patrolling of Cobb's Park. And also the mental health people have been out a number of times, trying to get people to accept being put someplace for the day, or talking to them, or trying to get them to get services, but we can't force them.
No,
That's-
I
You know,
understand.
you know the drill, but it's not a forgotten issue from what happened last summer. You can shoot me an email and I will give you more
Because
information.
there's some additional questions that I need to know.
Yeah, okay. You have questions for the police department, or?
Oh, no, I will bring my questions to you, and then you could.
I'll address them with you and then with the city.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're quite welcome, sir.
Any other questions about the first district?
So I'll call everyone's attention to the back of the agenda where we have statistics for June of this year and also comparisons to June of 2013. And unfortunately, there's an awful lot of up arrows for 1D this time. So any trends that you'd like to share with us?
The biggest problem, I mean, obviously we've had some robbery issues and everything, but the biggest property crime problem we're having is theft from autos. Huge problem with theft from autos. We're also having a huge problem now for summertime with stolen bicycles. So for those of you who do ride bikes, and I would highly recommend, you know, it used to be that if you owned a bicycle in the city, you had to register. Well, people don't have to register the bicycles anymore. It makes it very difficult for us to recover bicycles and identify stolen bicycles that people are using. So I don't have the information with me handy, but there's a national database that you can enter your serial number for your bicycle in. I highly recommend you and your neighbors please register your bicycles in that. It'll make it much easier for us to track bicycles. I would also say that maybe enacting some kind of legislation to start registering bicycle again might help. But the other big thing is theft from autos, and it's the same problem we've always had. People leaving things inside the vehicles, it becomes an easy target. So just, you can tell your neighbors, you know, please try not to leave valuables within sight. So the foot beats that we're doing are supposed to help with the theft from autos. And we have had more people stopped recently about that. With more people out there on foot, hopefully that will help alleviate that problem right there. So those are our two biggest problems right now.
How's the crime in and around Walmart?
The crime around Walmart is not significant. The amount of arrests that we're getting out of Walmart is through the roof right now. We're getting a huge amount of shoplifting and thefts out of Walmart, ending up in arrests right there. But the crime around it's not really
So
significant.
the internal LOP is operational and doing well?
Yes. I'd say very well. Any other questions?
Thank you very
I'm sorry, excuse me. I do hope that 1D is going to represent every month. We don't meet in August, but we've had a hard time getting someone from 1D to attend and share information and allow us the opportunity to ask questions. I hope the new commander will allow.
I'm going to pass that along to him.
Thank you.
And I did raise the issue of the no-shows last month to both the 1D and 3D commanders. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
3D.
How you all doing? I'm sorry to report that Belgium has defeated the U.S. at the World Cup. Sorry to start off on a bad note. Just to give you guys an update, I guess the most pressing issue is what happened at Lux. I haven't heard the result of the ABC hearing, but the club was shut down for 96 hours starting Saturday under the authority of the chief of police. There was a bunch of assaults, including a shooting that directly originated from the club that they then pushed outside. One person was knocked unconscious, one person was struck with a bottle, and another guy got a gunshot wound. But that club was closed down. and I know they had a hearing, I just don't know the results of that. I don't know if any of you heard the results of that either.
So let me tag in, that, okay, so after the shooting, Saturday, I was in constant communication with Sergeant about it, and when he put up the signs to shutter it for 96 hours, I called Douglas Development, who is their landlord. They have agreed as of today to terminate their lease, and so they will get it. They have 120 days to vacate the property. That's it. So, but we're waiting to hear about the Abra.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what state, when I talked to them today about it, they were still gathering, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but normally when that hearing result comes down, it's emailed to all of us, so we know whether they're open or closed and what their status is, so we know what we have to do for them.
They're supposed to have a big party on Thursday. So the Twitter has been going crazy about what happened and all that. You can follow what's going on the Twitter. So it's not good. People are upset that it was closed. And so I hope nothing happens on Thursday
I
night.
hope not either.
But that's it. So Douglas Development took action. I thanked them publicly for it. They listened to my concern and got the lawyers involved. And as of this afternoon, they got their notice. So.
And we have a new footbeat officer that's working in the area at the Giant and the Kenny Rec Center. That's 8th and 0 and 7th and 0. It's Officer Douglas Berlin. I just wanted y'all to see him and have him introduce himself and talk about a little about what he's been doing out there. He's actually been doing a really good job. We've had an intersection of the new Giant and all the businesses there. The members of the community have lived there for a long time, and the new people coming in who's just never lived in the city before and don't understand that 8th and O Street Northwest is not, suburban, semi-rural Montgomery County and Howard County where it's pin drop quiet at night. And he's been doing a lot of those issues, but I'm gonna let him take a minute and introduce himself and talk about what he's been doing out there.
I'm Officer Berlin. My area is, I'm small on foot. It's between Rhode Island Avenue and N Street, and then from 6th, well actually 5th to 10th. So you'll see me walking around neighbors, some of you probably already seen me, hard to miss. Trying to work on the thefts from mail that are occurring, walking in alleys, down the streets. You'll see me all the time, walking on the pizza, you see me giving me a cold bottle of water. Appreciate it. And, so if you have any suggestions, feel free to approach me on the street. Tell me what your concerns are, what I can address, problem areas that you see. Presently, right now, my focus has been to try to clean up 7th Street in front of Redwood City. You'll notice this next week that it's going to be a lot easier to walk down the sidewalk. If you have any other suggestions for me, please feel free to let me know.
I live in Second Northwest, which backs the park there in New Jersey and Bundy School.
Yeah.
We had cooled down for a while, and I had just back in now. I've been walking a lot, especially in the morning. We are gathering a lot of homeless people in the park there. I have no problem with that, except for they're smoking marijuana, and it's at a point where you can
Is that
smell
mostly the
it.
morning staff?
If this is in the morning, at any time. I go out at 9, and I'm normally around there about 10. And it's a constant gathering now, so I think they're testing to see what's gonna happen.
They test this every day.
Because you guys have gotten rid of them before. And I'm the nosy busybody, I think it's a second.
We love people like you.
you.
Yeah.
Lots of times.
Can't miss it.
But now that I'm back out, I'm more observant, and that is a place.
Okay.
Now, we had problems on the N Street side, we cleared it up, you guys cleared it up, we don't have that anymore.
Okay.
But that park, it looks like it's a testing facility. If we could get away with it today, maybe we can do better tomorrow, and then you look up, you gotta hold on.
God, that's in my list.
We had that before.
Well, I'll get the Dale officers to start going over there a little bit more often.
Okay, thank you.
Because we're running, just like the other sergeant was saying, a little lighter on the manpower earlier in the week now, because things have changed around a little bit. So we'll see about getting some of the officers up there a little bit more often.
Thank you.
You know, I think, Ms. Caracito, I was there one time, someone called the police when I was there over there recently, and they just swooped right in. It wasn't me who called, I was barely there, and it was the big swoop, and they frisked the people, and they were there for about 10 minutes, and I was quite impressed.
Well, myself and Joseph, in my
Mr. Bright.
building, he's on the back, I'm
Yeah.
on the front. We are very observant, and Miss Pedro, they know me,
Yes.
and they know the type of person. Now, if it's someone I can talk to, I will call them and say, hey, we don't like this, or whatever, whatever, whatever. Normally, they leave, but I don't bother the street people, because they don't know me, they're not from my neighborhood, so I'm not testing them. So I would appreciate you guys that you do.
I would just add one more thing about the thefts from auto. If you have people visiting from out of town plates, a lot of times the thefts from auto that we're seeing, we don't get a lot in our area right now during my shift, but we do have them in 308. People from out of town who don't know any better than to leave valuable items in the back seat. Encourage your visitors to put them in the trunk, take them to your house. They look for out-of-state plates because they think that they're easy prey. They don't really focus on DC plates too much when we're out of state. It's usually in Connecticut, Maryland, New Jersey. So.
The analysis is about 80% of the theft from autos are non-DC plates. None of the DC plates, almost all of those are out of their zone. Because the people who do those kinds of crimes know how to read the zone permits, just like parking enforcement, just like we do. So they know, because you know what you're going to do. The car for the person that lives there, that you might be right in front of their house, who could come out at any minute, or the car of the person you know is in the convention center or in a restaurant or shopping at the Giant. So please, I mean, I know we can't reach the people that we don't know, but as much as possible, don't leave stuff in the car. Be very careful about, it happens all the time, especially with people going out for the night, like going to a club. They'll stand at the trunk of their car for 5 or 10 minutes, taking stuff in and out of their purses and jackets and stuff, and then they'll walk away from the car, and the lady will left her purse with her wallet, except for her ID and her credit card, and the guy left his jacket, his wallet, some other stuff, and then when they come back, the car's broken into and it's gone. That's not a good thing to do that a few blocks out. Also with the bicycles too, that's another huge thing we're seeing. Bicycles and the scooters, like the Vespas and all. DC law, I believe they all have to be registered now, but even if they don't have to be registered, it's a good idea to have plates on them. Because I can't tell you that white Vespa riding down the street, or whatever scooter it is, Conco, I can't tell you that white scooter riding down the street is this particular VIN number, but I can tell you the plates say DC 1234 on it. So please, that's a very important thing. If you have a scooter, lock that thing up. Don't presume, oh, it's heavy, nobody's gonna steal it. I'm not very good at it, and I can hotwire a scooter in under a minute, and I'm not good at it. Guys who are can do it much faster than me. So please, lock up your bikes, even if you're just going in for a second. And the thing that amazes me is that people will come up, go to a store, and flip their bicycle over so it's on the handlebars like it's a theft prevention system. Right? Please lock your bikes, lock your scooters. I know it takes extra time, but the difference is that you're much more likely to have it there when you come out. And don't be like, oh, it's a junky bike, I don't care. Well, if it's a junky bike and you don't care, then don't tell us it's stolen, right? If you didn't lock it, I mean, we're going to take the report. Please don't get me wrong. We're going to take the report, but take care of it. And that it's the National Bike Registry. That's what it is, the National Bike Registry. It's a very nominal fee to register it. We can access it. Every bike shop in the country has access to it. Every pawn shop has access to it. So if your bike does get stolen and they take it to a bike shop, and there are bike shops in 3D who have done this, people have come with bikes to get fixed that just don't match. I mean, like, imagine like a guy his size coming in with a women's bike that's up here saying, yeah, this is my bike and I need it fixed. Or vice versa, coming in with a bike that's way too big for them, they've run the bikes and found them to be stolen. So it's well worth the money. I think it's, when I did it 5 years ago, it was $20 for a lifetime registration per bike. I don't know if the price has changed, it probably has, but it's definitely worth it. And it's completely voluntary. I mean, you don't have to do it, but it helps us. But if anyone else has any questions or comments?
I was wondering, I thought you had said that we had registered the bikes in the district.
We don't do that anymore.
Okay. Has anyone called the council or checked to find out why such a thing was removed from the list? We have council members, we have a mayor, and people
Yes.
have mouths. All you got to do is pick up the telephone, and if enough of us call, something will get done. And you need that. That's a help for you.
It is and it isn't. I mean, the National Bike Registry is an
So
excellent job.
guys, you heard what I said. You got a mouth, there's a telephone, use it.
But there is a national bike registry, that's what we use.
National, yeah. But there shouldn't be a law in the district that they have to be used to.
Right. Now law was overturned by the city council and the mayor.
Sergeant Early,
Yes,
are
sir.
you able to speak on the shooting that took place at the 1200 block of 7th Street at all?
What would you like to know?
Any arrests? Any-
I can't really, I know there has been arrest, but I really can't say too much more than that. It's under investigation. And we're actually probably not too far from arrest.
Understood.
But it wasn't an accident.
I assumed that it wasn't.
All right, I do have to say that I've been getting a lot of positive comments about the foot beat, so congratulations on that. And been seeing a lot more visibility, both of parked vehicles and officers, walking around from them, especially over at 7th and Q. So I want to acknowledge that, and also to note that 3D's crime stats for June have a lot of arrows going down. So you've had a net reduction in crime. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions for folks from 3D? All right, thank you very much. And as always, we always put MPD at the beginning of the agenda so that we can get you back on the streets where we need you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
There are a few seats, there's 3 or 4 seats up front. There's a seat on the end over here. Actually, no one is using this chair if you just want to scoot it around. Please make yourselves comfy. We'd like to, not have everybody having to stand. I know there's a lot of people, so please, you want to take this also? Put this one around.
So our first case for this evening is 1740 New Jersey Avenue. This is a request for zoning related to allow renovation of, in addition to an existing building for residential use. Newton Street Development is the applicant.
So good evening, my name is Meredith Moldenauer, I'm counsel for the applicant. With me today is Jimmy Edgerton and David, we have the architect. And so what I'd like to do is just to provide, maybe I'll provide a brief summary of the relief, and then we'll walk through the plans, and then we'll walk through, obviously there's some concerns about parking. We'll walk through the parking mitigation recommendations that we're making so far, and then obviously we'll open it up for questions. The case before us it's a very small lot that has 100% lot occupancy. The property has a very long history in regards to challenges. The property had been vacant for many, many years. Due to the vacancy, the property had gone through a great deal of demolition and partial, obviously, problems with the construction. The roof was caving in on portions. There was a long-standing degree of water infiltration on the basement level, about my knee, maybe not everybody's knee, but about up to my knee, throughout the majority of the basement, creating large degrees of problems for any potential buyer and then any potential developer. A lot of those factors created a practical difficulty for the current owner who went into negotiations and purchased the property, then actually went through nearly a year of back and forth with the owner because there was estate issues and having to finalize the closing because there was clouds on titles and things of that effect. So after all of that process, they were able to evaluate what really could be done with this building. Because the lot is 100% lot occupancy, no matter what would be done with the building, would not provide any parking for the site. And so they evaluated how they could revitalize this building, taking into account obviously having to address all of the existing dilapidated conditions on the site. And so they are proposing to renovate it to an 8-unit condominium, condominium. And so based on that, the zoning requirements require a land area of a certain requirement, and we don't meet that. And obviously there are additional other existing non-conforming factors in that regard that we're asking for relief from in order to provide an addition to the existing non-conformity. Based on that, for the requested number of units, there would be 3 parking spaces required. As I said, the property would not provide any parking. But, and I know that there's been a discussion back and forth with the commissioners about the concern of parking in the area. And the applicant has, though, presented current mitigation recommendations, including, as I said, the parking only by zoning requirements would only require 3 spaces. They have agreed to rent from Progression Place, which is very close to the property, 4 spaces for individuals in the building that those individuals would not have to pay for. So if they were obviously occupying the building, they would get 4 spaces for free and not have to incur that as part of their condo fee or part of their rent. And in addition to that, they would be providing additional mitigation, providing each of the first residents either the option of $100 bike share smart car program, $150 bike share program, or $200 Metro card, since obviously the Metro is very close by, trying to encourage the use of public transit. There would also be secured bike locations. As we've heard, bicycles are becoming very popular for modes of transportation, from DPW reports about and the necessity to secure those properly. So this development would be providing, I believe there's five secure bike shares on the site in order to ensure that obviously those would be able to be utilized and hopefully not be stolen. In addition to that, there were some questions about the visitor parking permits, and the applicant has agreed to restrict anybody at the property, any resident of the property, being able to obtain a visitor parking permit. And so, based on those different factors, I'll kind of allow now David to walk through the plan. You know, we're presenting that to the committee today and to the community today.
So for the commissioners who aren't familiar with the property, it is bounded by Rhode Island, New Jersey, and S Street. It's the corner building here. The existing structure is one structure right now, but it actually covers two separate lots. So we are sort of reestablishing that lot line. The smaller lot, which is this one here, will be a single family by right development. And then what we're seeking relief on is the development of this property here, which would be the 8-unit building. As you can see, it essentially occupies the entire lot, so there's no options to provide parking on the property itself. We've looked at many options to provide off-street parking. We talked to VDOT about maybe putting some in this public space area. That was really a non-starter. We looked at ways to get parking in the basement underneath. It was essentially infeasible to get a ramp down there. You can see some photos of the existing structure there. This is the proposed site plan. You can see the one family development on the smaller lot, and then this essentially remains the same from the site point of view.
I'm sure everybody can see.
Here are some of the existing conditions that we've been dealing with on the inside. There's quite a bit of damage due to water infiltration, both in the upper stories and particularly in the basement. Quite a bit of deterioration that we've been cleaning up. Here's just two examples of the floor plan. The first floor plan and the third floor proposed plan. The existing structure is a 2-story with basement structure, so we are proposing adding a 3rd story onto it. Each story would have 2 units on it. The way the building's configured, with the center stair here, it makes it very logical just to divide it in half, 1 unit on each half. The floor is 8 units. Here you can see the elevations that we propose. Though this is not a historic district, we're very sensitive to maintaining the historic nature of the building. That's a very prominent site. The 3rd floor addition, which you can see here, is essentially an extension of the existing mansard roof. This is the existing elevation here. That's the existing mansard roof. So we're just extending that line up, putting in historically accurate windows. So this is the Rhode Island view. This is what you see coming down. This is New Jersey, but you really see it coming down Rhode Island. And then the final S Street view you see here. And this is the back of the single-family townhouse. So this is essentially part of our submission today.
All right, this property is in Commissioner Chappell's single-member district.
Yes. I have been talking with the developers for months now, and I have expressed to them my strong opposition to their plans and had suggested that they attempt to make a development that has less units than what the 8 units that they are proposing. In addition to that, the house is going to be divided into a 3-story townhome in addition to the 8 units that they are planning for. Everyone that I've spoken to in my district is against such a dense unit at this location. There's no other dense unit such as this in the 400 or 500 block of S Street. The parking issue is horrendous on that block. Everyone I speak to, that's one of the number one things that I hear about. I hear complaints about parking every week. Every week someone is contacting me regarding the problem that they have with parking. Having this solution, the city requires a minimum of 3 permanent parking spaces on the site. And this ANC, we have always asked developers to put more than a minimum. And usually, a developer of having this density or greater, they usually comply with our wishes. I know that developers want to have as many units as possible because more units means the financial outlook on this project will be greater. But and I have no problem with developers making money, none whatsoever, but if the development is not by right, then the community have a say in your development. There are 2 other houses that are being built on their block, which they have not appeared before this ANC because they are completing their developments as a by right